Deputy Speaker, Australians are doing it tough, but listening to the member for Dobell, everything's hunky-dory. Australians aren't doing it tough. Everything's great. In a 10-minute speech, probably 20 seconds were devoted to we need to do a little bit better on cost of living. So when it comes to Dobell, I guess people aren't paying more rent. People aren't paying higher mortgages, Deputy Speaker. People aren't paying higher insurances. I guess the member for Dobell must have delivered that $2.75 reduction in electricity prices. So for the people in Lemon Tree and Long Jetty and Palmdale and other places in Dobell, everything's sweet. Everything's sweet since the Albanese government was elected, according to the member for Dobell. But the truth is, Deputy Speaker, Australians know that they are doing it tough. They know that the Prime Minister can't be trusted when he said that things would be better off under him, when life would be better off under him. People know that they are struggling in the last 2 years. The record shows that under the coalition, people had more savings in their bank accounts. People had more dollars in their pocket. People had a greater disposable income under the coalition. People weren't having to work 2 or 3 jobs, like the member for Hume says. The government come in here day after day talking about more women in employment. The reason why more women are back to work is because they're struggling. Their mortgages have doubled. Their cost of living has gone through the roof. They're having to put back groceries back on the shelf when the kids pick them up. That's why they're back to work, nothing because of what the Leader of the House has done, Deputy Speaker. The Minister for Industrial Relations comes in here, says he saved the country, everything's hunky-dory under him. The reality is that prices have gone up because of their actions, because of their legislating for their union donors. That's what Labor governments do. It's what they'll always do. Whilst the rules allow them to take that money from the unions, they'll come into this place and act in the best interests of their donors, not in the best interests of you and other Australians throughout this place. That is the absolute reality. After almost 2 years of Labor, Australians' quality of life has fallen dramatically, with higher taxes, higher income taxes, higher inflation, low productivity. They talk about income taxes. The government wouldn't be doing anything around income taxes if the former coalition government hadn't already legislated to cut them from July 1. That is the absolute reality. There's not a member on that side of the House that advocates for income taxes any day of the week. In fact, the last 2 years, all they've done is go, how do we actually get rid of those legislated stage 3 tax cuts that you said that you wouldn't cut? And the reality is that businesses are also suffering as well. Small businesses are suffering. And for every man, woman and child in Australia, the economy is going backwards. There is less money in their pockets, and that's what the figures produced last week and the Shadow Treasurer, the member for Hume, spoke about today. Workplaces are more inefficient. Workplaces are not as productive because of the workplace laws that this government has introduced. Businesses are now more worried about trying to work out what is the definition of a casual. What is the definition of a casual? We're not sure. There is fear and uncertainty over the right to disconnect. Now, how many members here, there's quite a few members in the House, have actually had someone come up to them and go, I'm really worried about my boss calling me after hours. I'm really worried about being sent an email after hours. I've been a member here for 10 years. I haven't had one person raise that with me. But now you've got small businesses around the country going, you know what, I might not put on that extra employee, and unemployment is rising under the Albanese government. The duplication in Queensland, we've had legislation for years in Queensland addressing wage theft, and the federal government introduced the same legislation that doesn't talk to the current legislation in Queensland. Capital expenditure is down. People are not investing in their businesses because the Albanese government have wound back the instant asset tax write-off. And now we have one employee in every 15 that's full-time job is to deal with compliance and regulation. That is the Albanese government's legacy. SMEs have stopped growing, they've stopped employing, they're finding it tough, and Australians have given up on the Albanese government.